Hey there, yoga friends. Jen here. Thanks for joining me again for part 2 of the restorative sequence, Awakening Gentle Awareness. Today's class, we're going to explore forward folds, side bends, and a back bend, just to waken up those 3 major lines of the body. Thank you for joining me today. Let's get started. For today's class, you're going to need a blanket and you're going to need a bolster. Now, if you don't have a bolster, don't fret. What you're going to need is a firm pillow or 2 and maybe a couple of extra blankets to give you that extra support. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to come to sit and face my bolster. I'm going to use my blanket here to take underneath my hips. Now I'm just getting my sit bones here right on the edge of the blanket. And that just helps the sit bones, the hip bones here to fall forward. And when that happens, it sort of supports that natural S-curve of your spine. So from here, we're just going to come into that nice tall seat. And we're going to take our right shin here, just in front of the left. As we sit tall, we're going to take a breath or 2. Finding the length through the spine. And we're going to get ready to move into a forward fold. And notice I've got my bolster here in front of me. I'm going to use it as a support today. So I'm going to take it, place it on a horizontal, bow forward from the hips, rest my head, my chin on it, and just hold on to the bolster. Now this is really lovely for not only opening up the back line of the body, but also giving a nice stretch here for the hips. So you're going to feel this more strongly, perhaps, on the right side of the body as the right shin is in front. And I'll just invite you here to close your eyes. And we're going to start to cultivate the breath awareness of Ujjayi. And Ujjayi is that equal inhalation to equal exhalation. You may want to count how long it takes you to get a full inhalation here. And then count how long it takes for you to take a full exhalation. Maintaining the breath originating at the abdominal center and moving through the side ribs and the front and the back of the chest. Releasing from the top, contracting through the ribs and gently drawing the navel back. So you've counted a couple of cycles perhaps here of the breath. And what you want to do is make them even. So maybe you counted in 5 and out 6. See if you can perhaps extend the inhalation to 6 and out 6. Or in 5, out 5. Going to go ahead and just take another 5 or 6 breaths like this. Really relaxing through the abdominal center. No effort here. Releasing any tension through the back. You may even want to take the bolster a little bit further away from you as you sink more deeply into the forward fold. So just getting a nice gentle stretch here, nothing too strong, something that you can find a lot of ease and softness in. Make sure you're not shrugging your shoulders here up towards your ears. Now, of course, with these restorative yoga postures, you can hold them from anywhere up to 20 minutes. Whatever you do for one side, typically you want to repeat for the second. So if you do want to stay here a bit longer, friends, you can go ahead and pause the video and hold it for a little bit longer. Otherwise, we're just going to take another 4 breaths. And to release, I'm going to take my hands to the floor to support the torso and just walk the body back up. Find that length through the spine, and we're going to turn now. So we're just going to come off the blanket if you're sitting on it. We're going to use the blanket here as a little bit of a pillow. We're going to take that to the top end of your mat, and we're going to take the bolster here up alongside of your right hip, right? So it's right next to the right hip. We've got my blanket there just in front of the bolster to support my head. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath here and lengthen up through the spine. We want to find length for both sides of the rib cage here. And then as we exhale, we're going to take that nice lengthened right side of the body, roll it down over the bolster, extend your right hand forward, turn the palm to the ceiling, and then we're going to take the blanket here for underneath the head. Now, if you want, you can just let your head dangle, if that feels okay for your neck. If it doesn't, then you want to use a support. It's really a personal preference, so find what works best for you. We'll lengthen the left hand here up towards the ceiling, finding a sense of lightness through the left shoulder joint. We'll turn the palm towards that short edge of our mats, towards our head, and then we're going to take that left hand forward to the fingertips touch the floor. And you'll notice as that happens that you start to find this real lengthening, not only for the right side as we are folded over the bolster, but now over the left side as well. And this one in particular, this yoga posture, is really fabulous for cultivating the sense of space for the intercostal muscles of the ribs. Those are the spaces in between your rib cage. So as we go ahead here and take another 5 really deep breaths in, really sense that your left side of your rib cage is lifting up towards the ceiling as well as lengthening. You can keep your eyes gently opened, or if you prefer, you can close them. Remember that smiling during yoga is always beneficial, not only for your mental health, but also to reduce those age lines that come, or at least when they come, that they're happy looking age lines. I also love how this posture feels really good for lengthening the spine. If you like, yoga friends, you can pause the video again and just stay here for as long as it feels good for your body. Otherwise, we're going to take just another 2 or 3 breaths here, really expanding through that left side of your rib cage. And to release, we're going to start by taking that left hand back, and we're just going to place it either on the floor or on the bolster. We're going to turn the right palm down, press down with that left hand, draw that right elbow back so that we're supporting the torso as we come back to a seat. All right, so we're going to grab that blanket, take it back over to the other side of your mat. We're going to use it to sit on again, so we're going to face the other side of our mats here. We've got our sit bones here resting on the top of the blanket. This time we have our left shin in front of the right. So the ankles aren't crossed. We've just got one shin in front of the other. We're going to take the hands to the tops of the knees. Find a sense of lengthening here through your spine. And we're going to get ready to come into that forward fold on the second side. So go ahead and take your bolster now. We're going to put it on the diagonal. With that sense of length and lift through the spine, we're going to bow forward from the hips so we're not C-spining. And we're going to wrap our hands around the bolster and just relax and fold into this. Now as you forward fold, you may not feel anything into the hips, or you may find that you feel some stretch here into your lower back. You have the option of staying here or maybe taking that bolster a little bit further away. And we'll go ahead and close the eyes if you're comfortable, or just stay in that soft gaze. Just for this video, we're only going to take 5 breaths, but again, friends, you can always pause and stay longer. As we take those breaths in, cultivating that equal breath cycle of the inhalation and the exhalation, we're also creating softness within the body as we inhale. So it's almost like a balloon inflating within inside of our bodies, creating spaces in between the vertebra and in between the internal organs of the front body. And as we exhale, the sense of releasing and surrendering, softening within the body. Again, you can pause the video, or if you're ready to move on here, we'll take the hands to the floor. On an exhale breath, we're going to walk the hands back and slowly come to our seat, lengthening up again through the spine, maybe drawing the shoulders up to the ears, circling them back down and away from the body, giving yourself a nice little jiggle. And then we're going to go ahead and come back into that sideline twist. So we're going to scoosh here off the blanket, and we're going to fold it up so it becomes our pillow. We're going to take it up to that top end of our mat. We're going to take the bolster here horizontally along the mat and right up against the left hip. So I just have the knees here. I'm not sitting on the heels, but the knees are pointing out to that long edge of the mat. Take your left hand to the top of the bolster. Use it to help support you to find that length through the right and left sides of the torso, particularly bringing length here into the left-hand side of the torso. Take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, keeping that length here through the left side, we're really going to lengthen the rib cage over the bolster. Use your right hand here to support your body as you lengthen those left hands over to the left. Turn the palm to the ceiling. And then we're going to support the head again over the blanket. And just find yourself here softening over the bolster. Raise the right hand here up towards the ceiling, finding that sense of length and lightness through the right shoulder joint. Turn your palm now towards your head. And then we'll draw the hand past the head towards the floor. And as you do that, you'll find more length here for the right side of your rib cage. So again, we're taking 5 really deep breaths here, finding the spaces for the intercostal muscles of the right side of the body. And this can help improve our mental health as well, in the sense that as soon as we start to take these deeper breaths, we're already saying to our parasympathetic nervous system to calm, to release, to relax. But also because we often get quite closed to the top of the chest, and we start taking these really shallow breaths. So this is a really lovely posture to not only stretch and lengthen through the intercostal spaces, but it helps us maintain this length. So that as we move on through our day, we've got this deeper breath and sense of the breath through our bodies. Let's just take another 3 breaths here, softening, lengthening, surrendering into the bolster. Again, you can press pause to stay here longer. I recommend that you hold these postures probably for about 2 to 5 minutes, longer if you need. But to release from here, we're going to just take that right hand down and forward, either to the floor in front of you or on top of your bolster. Turn the left palm to the floor, press down with the right hand, slight roll to the right as we ease the body up. Now, we're going to move right into our next posture, and this is a cobra. Take the blanket here off to the side of the mat. We're probably not going to need it. Now, if you are using stacked blankets, that can be very good here for this as well. So we're just going to come here into a tabletop. So you want to take your hands here just in front of the bolster or the blankets that you're using. We're going to sway the hips and the shoulders here in opposite directions, creating a bit of space and length for the spine. And then we're going to lower down. So what I want you to do is just start to walk your knees back. And I want you to lay your rib cage here, just on top of the bolster. Right? So just the bottom of the rib cage. We're going to take the hands here in front. Take your feet about hip distance apart. Give your hips a nice little wiggle. And then we're going to take the elbows here to the floor, right? Now, you really want to create a sense of softness here through the front line of the body as well as the back. So as you take your attention to your abdominal center, soften through the muscles of your belly. Soften through the muscles of your bottom, the backs and the fronts of your legs. And we are looking for this sense of compression through the lower spine. Now you can bend the elbows here and you can cup the head, the forehead, with your hands. And just by supporting the forehead in this way, we are supporting the vagal nerve, which has a direct connection from our guts to our brains. And it's almost that super highway of health for mental health here. That's how the biome of the gut and the brain are connected, so we can support a healthy eating plan through yoga and these types of postures to really come into a better state of mental health and ease. You want to have this really gentle compression through the lower back, and if it feels okay for you, please stay. If you need to lower, you can, or maybe just come into a stacked blanket rather than the higher bolster. And if you want to come a little bit deeper, friends, you can bend your knees, point your toes towards the ceiling. Maybe bring the toes or the heels to touch, and then we just relax here into posture, seeing if we can create stillness through the front and the back of the body. And again, we're going to go ahead, just take 5 more really soft, smooth breaths here. Remember, friends, that you can stay here longer by pausing the video and coming back to it when you're ready. For those of you who are moving with me today through this practice, we're going to take our last breath or two. If you have your toes pointed up towards the ceiling, I'll get you to just take the feet to the floor and tuck your toes under here. We'll lower the hands to the floor and take your hands back here in line with your shoulders. Draw your navel to your spine. Come up onto your knees. And we're going to press down through the hands to come back into a tabletop. Now from the tabletop, you want to align the hips and shoulders again. And just rock the hips and the shoulders here in opposite directions. To release the spine, I'll get you to take your big toes to touch. Sink your hips back here onto your heels, and our final rest here is in child's pose. So I'll just get you to take your forehead here towards the floor. This is nice to release the spine. With every inhalation, a sense of lifting and lengthening through the back body. And with every exhalation, a sense of surrendering here. And let go of any of the thoughts that are popping up into our minds, simply acknowledge them and returning back to our breath. We'll turn our palms now down to the floor. Slowly make our way back up to a seat. Thank you, friends, for joining me today. Remember, all of these restorative postures are ones that you can hold longer. Just because we didn't hold them very long today, they're just there to teach you and to show you ways that you can better look after your body. And really, yoga is a private practice. It's something we do for ourselves to find that connection that sort of makes us feel alive and at peace within. And I hope today you were able to explore some of that. Thanks for joining me.